Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last episode of Draft Week. I'm going to start things off slightly differently. I've realised I've got a lot of middle of the pack drafts, not middle of the pack in terms of quality. These things are stupendous, but what we have had is a lot of picking from the middle, as in the fifth, sixth, seventh slot. So today we're going to do a Superflex draft. We're not going to impede ourselves with anything else, but I wanted to highlight Superflex because it's such a popular format these days. And the other thing I want to highlight is what's it like to draft on the end? The end is, I think, a very enviable position simply because you have that turn. And a turn is at the end of the draft round, sorry, you get 2 picks in very quick succession, which means you have to think of 2 things. Either you can dominate something, you can make a decision and double down on that decision and get 2 really good players of similar quality, or you can set a run. Or if you having to, play behind a little bit, you're going to be in a position where you have to consider maybe reaching a little further. And that was one of the kind of points I made in one of the earlier episodes, is that reaching is fine within reason. Just make sure you stick to your tiers. And we're going to be doing this. I'm going to prove that a Superflex tier list is the same as a normal tier list. You just have to think about your tiers a little bit better. There are schools of thought that have Superflex, making sure that meaning that the quarterback position isn't as valuable and you should just draft normally. I don't believe that. I think if you're in a Superflex, you don't want a positional disadvantage in QB land. But let's see how this goes. I'm going to be drafting either at the 1, 2, 9, or 10 slot. At 10, 10-man PPR, dual QB Superflex. It's becoming so much more popular that I think it's worthwhile giving a look and giving some love to. It's more popular in Dynasty, so if you're in a startup, that's where you'll be looking at. But we're just going to do it as a redraft, and let's see what position we get, and then we'll get straight into the draft. And of course, we get the 10 slot. Brilliant. I'll take it. I'm going to claim 10, turn off all the notifications, and let's get into this. And it means that when it comes to us, we're going to be looking at, I think we might be looking at a Kyler Murray in the first round, Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, CD Lamb. This is interesting this year because wide receivers are so highly sought after. CD Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson, not Brian Robinson. Never make that mistake in drafts. And then it's down to me. Oh, and I am looking, I'm looking at my tier 3 guys, and I'm looking at Anthony Richardson. I really like that. And I like the fact that in Superflex, you can, bear in mind, Superflex, you don't have to play 2 QBs. You can play someone else in that position if you think it has an advantage. I think I'm going to have a bit of a spread here. This is a 2 wide receiver league. You need to play at least 2. So for me, that puts wide receiver above running back. Yes, running back is very much a position of shorter value in terms of it's a bit bigger fall off. I think I'm much more interested in talking about mid round wide receivers than I ever am talking about mid round running backs. But I'm looking at a wide receiver and a quarterback here, and I wish I could pair them. But Jalen Hurts is already gone. I would love to do that. There's no one else really looking sexy to me. I don't like the idea of CJ Stroud. I think he's too hot. So I'm going to go for Anthony Richardson as my first pick. And I haven't picked him up yet. So I'm just going to see how this plays out. But I'm going to, this is an interesting one as well. In Superflex, it's quite important to take away other people's physical advantage and other people's strategic advantages with stacks. I haven't talked much about stacks, but stacks are when you have the quarterback throwing to someone who's going to have it. And there are weak stacks and strong stacks. I really like the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, because they've got such a connection. I wouldn't want someone else to have that. So I have taken him away and made sure no one else is going to get them. It's very unlikely. If Team 9 had gone Burrow and then gone for it, maybe it would have been consideration, but I like Jamar Chase as a standalone anyway. Joe Burrow does go shortly afterwards with Justin Jefferson going at the 202, CJ Stroud, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs. It feels like I'm going 0RB again here. Dak Prescott goes, Kyler Murray, Jordan Love, Saquon Barkley, Puka, Jonathan Taylor, Kelsey, Olave, Williams, oh crikey, Sam Laporta, Marvin Harrison, and then me with 2 choices to make again. Now, a couple of teams have already gone 2 quarterback. at this point, we've talked about the kind of tiers, and you can see on the left here, my tiers get bigger and bigger. There are guys I want to avoid. I don't really want to be drafting anyone below this kind of fifth tier unless I have to. But I'd be happy with my second quarterback drafting a couple of guys who I think could be interesting. Yeah, even the likes of Bryce Young, if you've got a good rest of your position, could be an interesting second quarterback. But I'm probably looking at a running back here, and really like Travis Etienne here a lot. Do I think he's that much better than these guys? But these guys aren't coming back to me because I have that the position in the draft where I've got to think about, right, who's coming back to me. Have I got to reach out a little bit? And my gut is telling me that I've got a good wide receiver. I need one good running back, and I'll maybe even pick up a tight end here and fill out that position as well, because that's the one, and then try and build more value later on. So I'm going to try it that way. I'm going to pick up. Oh, do I want a Derrick Henry or a Travis Etienne? I'm going to stick with my tiers. And at the moment, I'm still evaluating. I think Derrick Henry is going up in my evaluation, but Travis Etienne, I think he's going to have a stellar year. He's fought off Tank Bigsby. I think he will continue to do so. And I am going to pick up with him one of my top guys who is, I think I've put him as a league winner. Yeah, Trey McBride. He's a league winner. Yes, Mark Andrews is available there, but I want to take away that stack from the Kyler Murray guy. Lamar Jackson owner has already got Travis Kelce, so he's unlikely to draft another tight end. You can play up to 3. Is anyone going to? No, not in real world. So Trey McBride, and obviously this is not real world. This is against the computer, so take everything with a pinch of salt. Brock Purdy goes next. That's Team 9's QB1, and I have a long time to wait. Tua goes, Derrick Henry goes, A-Chain, Adams, Josh Jacobs, who I think is too overvalued. I just, it's weird thinking that one of possibly the better offenses in the league, I'm down on the RB1. Anyway, just before me, Justin Herbert, who would love to have as a QB2. He's a QB1 in my mind. Oh, but I've got some interesting decisions to make here. I am looking at Jaden Daniels, who I have got much lower. I don't know why I've got him so much lower. Have I even got him in this lineup? Maybe that's no. I've got him. Yeah, he's in my league winner tier 4 guys. The Dak Prescotts of this world have gone, I believe. Oh, let's see who's available at quarterback, and this is the position probably I'd like to do it, because once it gets past here, I'm looking down the barrel of Matthew Stafford, who I think is fantastic. I would love to have him. Aaron Rodgers, who I think is great if you've got a stack, but Jaden Daniels has such standalone value. Just for running, and I'm gonna go for it. I think I've got to go Jaden Daniels here, and I can't see my way out of anything else. But beyond that, I'm now looking at the wide receivers. DJ Moore is incredibly attractive at this point, and I do still think having, with 2 wide receivers, you need to be thinking, if you've got to play 2 wide receivers, you've got to be thinking wide receiver early and often. I'm going to now ignore the quarterback position until very late rounds and pick up a streaming guy maybe later on. Mark Andrews is here. So the question is really, if I'm looking at DJ Moore and I'm looking at who I can't even see on my lineup here. I might have just missed a couple of players out here, but I'm sure he is there. I'm just not being able to see it. But if I'm looking at Moore versus looking at a Mark Andrews, who's really going to provide me the value that I really want to get out of there? I'm not sure who it is. I've got Cooper Kupp there as well. DK Metcalf is in that list. Oh, yeah, I've got DJ Moore way down low. I think I'm going to have to elevate him. But I'm looking at someone who can really reach out and do some great things. I would love to get a stack together. Maybe Terry McLaurin can come back to me. But I'm thinking, will Mark Andrews outperform DK Metcalf? And I don't think he will. So therefore, because I've already got the tight end position locked down, I'm going with my best available guy in this next tier, in the kind of 4th, 5th tier. And I'm going to go with DK Metcalf. So that's an interesting first few rounds. Anthony Richardson, Jamar Chase, Travis Etienne has been kind of a hero back in the 3rd round. I think that was a steal. I had to go for him. Trey McBride, Jaden Daniels, who I don't know how he's shot up the draft board so much, but I really do like the idea of running quarterbacks, and running quarterbacks are a cheat code. I'll just take a look at everyone else's lineups at the moment. and it's really interesting. There are some I like and some I don't. If you've got Josh Allen, that's easy. Um, Team one has got Josh Allen and Jared Goff, a kind of typical yin yang style like that. Team two, Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray, similar kind of thing. I do like that stack, although the fact that Dak is going above Kyler Murray perplexes me. Mahomes and Love, interesting. Do I see Love as having that kind of real breakout? It's interesting. Team four is going for a later round second QB, which I appreciate. Jalen Hurts going in the 104 slot. Lamar Jackson and Herbert, that is my dynasty lineup, believe it or not. Love that pairing. Tua and Caleb Williams, so much risk there. Team seven with only CJ Stroud. Ooh, okay. Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, I think two stone ponies. Team nine, Brock Purdy only. I think I've got the best pure lineup here, and it affords me to do things that are maybe a bit wonky now, and just pitch in a different direction completely. And I'm looking at my next tier of guys, and this is a bit of a tough area to go in here because none of the wide receivers are really screaming out at me. None of the running backs are really screaming out at me. But I did say about that Terry McLaurin stack if I could get it, and I've just seen him. He's coming in there as well. But I obviously have two picks, so I've got a bit more time to vamp with you guys and talk about who's going to be next. So my wide receivers are laid out. I'm looking at that kind of last flex spot here. Do I like the idea of another running back here? Do I like the idea of another tight end? And the tight end is interesting. I wouldn't normally go two tight ends this early, but the way this has been set out, I've got the opportunity to have Evan Ingram, who is in my tier 3 and is a real drop off after that. I'm way higher on him than I am on Dalton Kincaid and the next guys. Would I like a Dalton Schultz a bit later? Yes, that'd be great. But does this fit my lineup? The only thing it doesn't fit is that Travis Etienne takes away targets, and this is the decision making you've got to think about. I'm looking down the line. Brock Bowers doesn't interest me. None of these guys are interesting. So I think I've just got to go for the best player available. I don't think it's Tank Dell. I don't think it's Keenan Allen. I don't think it could be Keenan Allen. Potentially Calvin Ridley if I really reach, but I do think he'll come back to me. And I think Calvin Ridley is such a safe choice. I'm going to give myself a bit more of a challenge. I'm going to go Evan Ingram here because I do think he's got a massive amount of upside. I think if it ends up being pass happy, that's great. We'll trade him for someone who hasn't gone for a tight end this early. There's a guy who's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs in a row, and this is why, again, don't believe the hype. Mock drafts are all well and good in learning who will come to you, but the computer makes some dumbass decisions, and if that puts me on a PG watch list, well, you heard it here first, guys. Calvin really does come back to me, and I probably will end up going for him because he just fits the tier model so well. I'm still only there with one running back here, and I think I'm gonna be a bit brave here. Maybe not brave, not stupid, definitely. I'm gonna go with Calvin Ridley because I think he's got such a solid floor and such a high opportunity rate here that Calvin Ridley makes a lot of sense. And I keep clicking, and he won't pick up. I think it's because my mouse is nearly dead. But here we go. Third time asking. I get Calvin Ridley. Recorded a lot of these in quite quick succession. I'm looking at a long wait here, and the guy's coming back to me in the running back room, and I do need to pick up a couple of running backs now. The likes of Ty J. Spears and Zach Moss, got Keon Coleman potentially at the next one. Zamir White now, who I'm not a big fan on. But Raheem Mostert, I do think provides some value, and I think he can provide some early value before he maybe gets off. I mean, he scored 21 touchdowns last year. How can you give away that? The fact is, this lineup is solid. I'm not seeking any positions of everything. I'm just looking for the best value I can get at this, and I'm probably going to go a bit off piece, and this probably doesn't fit my formula when it comes to tiers. But sometimes you just got to go with the guy that you think has got great opportunity, and it's going to be Raheem Mostert. Lad McConkey, who I do like a lot, I like the idea of a lot, goes next. I'm just thinking if there's any late round stacks I can get. Maybe a Zach Ertz. No, I don't like that at all. That's gross. Anthony Richardson, who's his tight end. No one of note. It's probably Chigga Quonkwo. No, he's Tennessee Titans. I don't know who it is. Keon Coleman doesn't come back to me, and I would love to have got him. So I'm looking at the list of guys who I, I would have drafted in my zero RB as the top RB, and I did pick Devin Singletary, and I'll probably pick Devin Singletary again here unless I see some real value elsewhere. Jameson Williams is an interesting pick. I do like that. I'm not a big fan of Christian Watson. I think there are better versions of him later down the line. Brian Thomas is another interesting one, but I don't want so many Jacksonville Jaguars players. I think I'm just going to have to go for that late round running back run and go for a Devin Singletary pick here. But I, of course, get two in a row. Do I get two in a row? Yes, I do. Before my last pick in the 13th, and I think with that, I've this is turned into a zero RB. It's turned into kind of hero RB with the zero RB ending as well. I probably want one more wide receiver if I can see some real high ceiling stuff here. I'm just not seeing it anywhere. There are going to be people who are going to end up on the bench who have got similar kind of, Adonai Mitchell has a similar kind of projected relationship with Anthony Richardson as one of the other picks I would love to have. So I'm going to go with best player available, and I'm able to play three tight ends, and I'm just going to play this out and see what this team looks like. I'm going to go with Dalton Schultz, who is massively my guy. If I look at the tier system, he stands way above the other tiers in this kind of format. I would really like him. So that's interesting. I've gone from getting like barely any tight end love to getting Trey McBride, Evan Ingram, and Dalton Schultz in this one. And the final pick of this draft will probably be a running back. There's a big pull on running backs there. I probably just want someone to make sure that I keep the Wolves at bay. No one's paying attention. No one's really interested at this point in terms of a quality player. So I'm just going to go with a guy of any position who I think has a great deal of upside and might fit with my team. And that guy is going to be Will Levis. In fact, he's staring me there. I like the fact that I can just get a stack there. I've got DK Metcalf. I've also got DK Metcalf, so I could go Geno Smith. Let's go. Let's consult the tiers. I've probably got them sitting similarly. I've got Geno Smith a smidge ahead. So you know what? Let's mix it up and let's go Geno Smith this time. So that leaves me in a Superflex, and Superflex is so it adds another level of complexity. Some people say, oh, it's easy, you just play two quarterbacks. I don't think it is, because in any given game week, if you punted on those quarterback decisions, you could very often, if you're stuck with the likes of Will Levis, it's a big old roster, especially if you get 12, 14 team dynasty rosters and they're deep, you get the haves and have nots. But I think in this one, if it was a redraft, I'm definitely in the have camp. Anthony Richardson, Travis Etienne as my running back, Jamar Chase, and DK Metcalf. I love that. Trey McBride, Terry McLaurin, Evan Ingram, and Jaden Daniels as my super flex. For me, this team lineup makes sure that I'm probably going to end up playing two QBs. So it makes the other decisions I've got to make in the flex really important. And I've got some great ones to lean on there. I've got Calvin Ridley, Raheem Mostert, Devin Singletary. Again, I've gone high octane running back early on with Travis Etienne. So the rest of it has to kind of fall around that, because the value is, there's only so much value to have around here. Elsewhere, I've got Dalton Schultz and Geno Smith to finish off the lineup. I'm really happy with that. And hopefully this talk track gave you some things to think about if you are in a two quarterback superflex draft of your own. I would say comparing some of the other teams, and we did it in the middle, but let's look at it again. We talked about Josh Allen and Jared Goff. I think that's a good pairing. Number two hasn't changed. Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray. Patrick Mahomes and Jordan Love. Yeah, that's fine. The Jalen Hurts team picked up Aaron Rodgers. Again, that's a fine yin and yang. We talked about my dynasty lineup at number 5 there. Jackson and Herbert. We've got Tua and Caleb. I think there's too much risk there for my liking. CJ Stroud and Kirk Cousins. That is the most milquetoast answer I've ever got. I think I'm the only one who picked 3 quarterbacks. And I think in a 2 QB league, if you're thinking about playing 2 QBs, you need a third. Just because there are only 32 starters. It's not like you do quarterback by committee. Joe Burrow and and Trevor Lawrence, I don't like that at all. Brock Purdy paired with Matt Stafford. Yeah, you've got opportunity for great players around them, but are they going to make you fancy points? Yeah, they're probably much better than my guys in real life. But this isn't real life. This is fantasy, baby. Um, Richardson, Jaden Daniels. I'm the only one going in the third. Right at the last pick, Geno Smith. He's my Mr. Irrelevant, but I think he could be relevant down the stretch if this was a team that I would continue on with. But that is your lot, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you've listened to any of the episodes this week, I've really appreciated it. Again, I've been on holiday. I don't know if this has come down well. I put this stuff out there, and I hope you've enjoyed it. But we've done a lot of drafts. We started out with our draft 201, which is a bit of a kind of whistle stop tour of what not to do. Go back and listen to the draft 101 and 102 if you haven't done already. Those will give you good advice on tactics that you can use and things you can leverage. I think we've proven this year that you can leverage some weird tactics without just picking down the line and come out with some really cool teams. We did the home league draft. That was a keeper league. Made some for some interesting decisions because it throws ADP out the window. 16-man, which is one of my other leagues that I'm in as well. I went for hero RB, so RB early and then come back to the position late. That worked out quite well because that is, you only have to play one running back in that system. I did a 12-team zero RB one yesterday, and that was probably my favorite one. And maybe it's going to be a tactic I actually use this year. I've been very hesitant to because I'm a wuss, but the evidence is there that those teams normally do pretty well if you've got good in-season management. With Devin Singletary as your RB1, that sounds gross, that sounds nasty, but hopefully that would work. And then finish off today with the Superflex 12 team, giving you some food for thought. Thank you so much for listening. As always, if you love this stuff, you can come support the pod at Rugby with Pods. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Maybe I should have gone with that. Rugbywithpads.com. That takes you to our Buy Me a Coffee. You can support the pod from as little as £1 a month. You will get in-season newsletters, rankings, weekly pickups, all that kind of stuff, as well as a 10% discount on any merch. I'm not wearing it today because I'm getting ready for bed because I'm going on holiday in the morning. But you've got all that available to you. There will be a link in the description to discount, so you don't have to remember. You can just pick up some merch. I'm going to be doing a drop in the next couple of weeks anyway, so a big order. So get it in now. That's why the discount is available. But if you're a member, you get discounts all year round. And with some of the higher tiers, you get more merch, you get store credits. So it's a beautiful little circle, and we're not doing this to make money. I was talking the other day to some of my friends, and the biggest goal I want is to be able to get custom belts for the Rugby with Pads leagues. And the next time you hear from me will be probably launching into a kind of breakdown of the draft gone past, of having a draft in a couple of days when you're listening to this. I'm trying to work out the timing there, but yeah, we'll have the draft episode breakdown, and hopefully you guys will be making use of this in your various drafts across your various leagues, because it's always fun to be more than one. But after that, we'll get into regular season content. I'll do a bit of a preseason whispers piece, and then do some league guidelines, because we're setting it a bit differently this year. We're going to be talking more about the leagues you guys hopefully are involved with, and give breakdowns, not just on start sit in general. We're going to give start sit decisions on real teams, and the way you think about how to play, because that's really the niche I wanted to carve out. It's about bringing I think this year is about making us think better about how we manage our fantasy teams and make it more exciting for us as well. But that's the rambling. As I said, support, like, socials, all that kind of stuff. Links in the description. I'm tired. I need to edit this and then go to bed. I will see you all very soon on the Virtual Gridiron.